Okay, so quite confusing. I was telling my story of Buena Brashov, which was one of the big blows to this mine here. Indeed, part of the reason why I'm confused is because it's the communists, it's not me. They kicked this fictional hammer in my head with this thing, among others. And so I'm ranting and gallivanting and talking nonsense here because of them. It's not me, it's them, always. Yeah, it was a big blow, really. It's joking aside, because I mentioned, and I'm repeating this. I was sure I'm washed up. I'm gone. Maybe killed by firing stun. Well, not that probably. I mean, I wasn't really worth the bullet, so to say. But I mean, it wasn't really a dizzy. But talking my mouth off in the hotels and whenever I was not brave, not again, not being an opponent of the regime. No, was nobody really. But like in psychoanalytic therapy or psychological therapy, I needed to talk with somebody about this. I needed an escape. Indeed, I was planning to marry and get out, so that's one thing. Another point in the case against me, if you will. But I also needed to talk about this and say, well, look what's happening to somebody from the outside, if you will. This is my problem. This is the problem we all have here, and I'm telling it to you. And while doing this with every client that came in contact with me, I mean, we had a conversation longer than 10 minutes. I mean, I don't know if he came to ask me about the meal or when is the bus going to depart, or what's the way to Plana Brasov. I wouldn't immediately say, well, forget that and let me tell you about the communist regime here. But talking so much anyway about this, I must have been hurt by the wrong guy. That was one venue, one possibility. And then they go, look, this guy is the enemy of the people. So you have to pack him off and send him to jail. So there were a few days, 3 days, I prolonged my departure because I would say, well, I'm going to die anyway, or I'm in prison, so what's the rush? And then I need to finish and pay and do all I need to do here. Oh, look, there's a guy who has had an accident just now, and I mentioned in other episodes. I'm not even sure who's watching this, and nobody. But then I was thinking that they're not. I mean, you come across them in a Brownian distribution. So it's not, well, on my blog they're okay. This is, yeah, today, yesterday, more or less. It's in connection with today. Otherwise, otherwise, if it's on the YouTube, well, it's also on the channel. They're more or less mixed with notes about films. They come in some order, but they can come just in connection with, and, well, not that they're very connected anyway. So, okay. I also started the story with Sibiu, so let's get on with that bit, inshallah. Yeah, so I had some Arabs, okay, Danny O or no Danny O then, and I took the Israelis from Bucharest, two buses, one woman in the other one, and I also took Sherika. I had some episodes for her, and we went to Sibiu. It looked fine. There were fine people. It looked like this is going to be both lucrative, both money making. and a very nice group. I took some of my shit from the front, but then I started to get sick, and then very sick. So sick I had to go back to the end of the bus and lie down, and it went worse. And so the hotel in Sibiu Continental it was. Sherika had to call the ambulance. They came. Symptoms were of something, I mean, cholera, malaria, not malaria, no, but something exotic, something, and it's rather serious. They had some cases of cholera, the black. Termina! The Black Sea, te pognes de vezi. Black Sea, Danube Delta, somewhere. And since this is very, now we have a pandemic, we know that what that is. I mean, those who believe, so there's some idiots who don't. They think it's just an invention to do what? It's not even worth bothering with. I mean, with the millions and billions of fools who vote for Trump, but they're the same. Think this doesn't exist. Bolsonaro and others are in the same. So knowing this is very serious and it's very very strong virus, and it's they said, oh, you've been to the Black Sea, okay, so you have this, you're sick, you have fever, you have, I don't know, some, if not all of the symptoms of this or that, whatever it was then. So we think you may have cholera. Okay, but we need to isolate you. So I had to call Bucharest and say, look, they're keeping me here because they think I have this. And so there it is. Poor Sherika had to go back with a train or something. She took the plane. There was a plane, Sibiu, Bucharest. I had to tell the woman they will send someone to meet you in Cluj, I think it was. Another guy or woman for my bus. I also called a delegate, the Israeli in charge on that side of the group, and said, I'm sorry, but something serious, and they're keeping me here. I mean, I don't even have a say in this. I mean, I can't say I'm coming along because I'm forbidden to. I'm locked up. And indeed, they locked me up. I mean, not in prison, but in a hospital not far from the center, actually, without access to the outside world. In a dictatorship, like now with China, how they lock down, how they arrest people in Hong Kong now. They arrested a guy who has some of the media critical of the regime, and no more freedom for Hong Kong. So communists don't think in terms of liberties. And I spent 3, 4, I don't know how many days waiting for results and waiting to see if I'm dying and if I would die in isolation, or it's not that, it's not cholera or whatever, or the plague, who knows what they were suspecting. And it was not. So I was free to go away. But I gave this story within the story to say there was a case of an emergency which was somewhat dubious. I mean, we didn't know, does he have this or he doesn't, but then at least most of the details were on the table. What's clear in present danger, we know what the risk was, so to say, in some ways. Here I had no idea. I knew I had some issues, some problems, some things not to be sorry for, because I talked the truth in the end. I wasn't buying the propaganda, the idea that we live in heaven when it was hell. And for that, I could be in serious trouble. And I was in trouble because of what uh, what they said in the middle of the night. So one way to cope with this, I didn't know positive psychology and the idea of you have to have a strategy to cope with adversity and eliminate negative thoughts. That wasn't possible anyway. But move, take action. I could try and do that, but then I think I spent a lot of time in the restaurant at our table, because we had the table, drinking and well, talking with and sometimes laughing. Being rather open about this. Okay, they called me and they said I have to go back, and well, maybe they kill me, but maybe they won't. I'm trying to make jest of it. In the end, they never said anything. I came back. I stayed some days, maybe a week, two, on the side, but then they gave me something else. So that was rather mysterious. I mean, what the hell happened? I mean, why did they need? They had an alarm signal, like sometimes, or quite often, it rings for nothing, for no good reason. There's an idiot somewhere near who doesn't care about the rest, but that's the rule here. Dogs barking for no reason, brats yelling, screaming like they're, and they're not like they because they're monsters. And parents turn them into monsters. They don't give a shit. So fuck, cry, to go on the streets and fuck the hell of the rest. I mean, who cares? Who gives a damn? Since the war, that was a line in Young Doctors in Love, a comedy we enjoyed many years ago. So an alarm that's going off once in a while because he doesn't, as I say, he doesn't care. So in my case, maybe they had some signals and they said we need to check the sky more and whatever, as to anticipate somehow. A Secret Service agent. I had a Secret Service agent. That's after 1990, of course, 1994. So, when working with the American Embassy, so I had all kinds of clients. There were the boom days. Good, a lot of activity, nice people, interesting, lots of money, energy, vitality. I was in flow. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, a classic of psychology, being in the zone, being challenged. So he comes to me and says, I'm with the Secret Service. What? I thought secret means secret, you don't know about it. It's not now, we all know. So these are the guys that offer ensure the protection of the, and he told me some things, not, I mean, not secret of course, but like for instance, it just happened that In the Line of Fire was in cinemas just as he was visiting us. I've seen the movie with Clint Eastwood, Rene Russo, John Malkovich, and do you really carry so much stuff, material, guns? Because there's a love scene and Clint Eastwood, secret agent, on the way to the battle, he has 25, I don't know, 120 guns, munition, knives, whatever, falling on the floor. So yeah, and some stories, but then maybe when we get to him. However, among the things we discussed, we came to the conclusion that he said something like, well, they checked you out. If you do this work always, I mean, you've been taking people from the embassy, family even, surely they looked at you, they checked you, and then you're clean or something like that. Maybe that's what happened at the Pona Brashov to some extent, even if, I don't know.